All India Radio presents Morning News. Good morning. I'm Sunil Verma and with me is VC Pramod. The headlines. Prime Minister Narendra Modi to launch several development projects in Tamil Nadu and Puducherry today. People above 60 years to get COVID-19 vaccine from 1st of March. Food grain production in country to touch all-time high of over 303 million tons during current fiscal. Centre lifts embargo on private banks to undertake government-related banking transactions. Prime Minister Narendra Modi reviews Pradhan Mantri Gram Sadak Yojana, asks officials to focus on quality of roads. India kicks off BRICS chairmanship with inaugural 3-day long Sherpas meeting. Terror financing watchdog FATF to decide today on Pakistan's grey list status. Delhi government decides not to hold offline exams up to class 8 students. Srinagar-Leh National Highway to be reopened for civilian traffic from Sunday. And in cricket, India to resume their innings at overnight score of 99 for 3 against England at Ahmedabad Test today. As the nation fights the COVID-19 pandemic, we begin with a message of precaution to stay safe and protected by following these 3 simple steps. Wear a face mask, maintain 2 gaz ki duri for social distancing, and focus on hand and face hygiene. And now the news in detail. Prime Minister Narendra Modi will be on a day's visit to Tamil Nadu and Puducherry today to inaugurate and lay the foundation for several developmental projects. Mr. Modi will depart from Chennai to Coimbatore late afternoon today after his visit to Puducherry. Prime Minister Narendra Modi will lay the foundation stone of multiple infrastructure projects worth over 12,400 crore rupees in Coimbatore, the Manchester of South India. Mr. Modi will dedicate the Neyveli New Thermal Power Project, 709 megawatt solar power project, and the 8-laning of Korampalam Bridge and rail overbridge built at VO Chidambaranar Port, Tuticorin. More from our correspondent.
Security has been tightened around the city of Coimbatore. Traffic has been diverted at many places. The vast venue of where the public meeting will be held is all decked up to receive the Prime Minister. COVID tests has been taken to ensure health safety of all those who are attending the event at Gadisia, where Prime Minister will inaugurate several projects. Mr. Modi will inaugurate over 4,000 tenements constructed under the Pradhan Mantri Awas Yojana scheme. Mr. Modi will lay the foundation stone for the extension, renovation and modernization of Lower Bhavani project. He will also lay foundation for the development of integrated command and control centers. Joy, AIR News reporting from Coimbatore.
In Puducherry, the Prime Minister will lay the foundation stone for 4-laning of NH45A 56 km Sattanathapuram Nagapattinam package of Villupuram to Nagapattinam project covering Karaikal district. Details from our Puducherry correspondent.
According to an official release, the Prime Minister will lay the foundation stone for 4-laning of NH45A covering Karaikal at a cost of Rs 2,426 crore. The Prime Minister will lay the foundation stone for the Jipmar Karaikal building to be constructed at a cost of Rs 491 crore and to be completed by August 2022. Under the Sagarmala scheme, the Prime Minister will lay the foundation stone for developing a minor port in Puducherry at a cost of Rs 44 crore and will lay the foundation stone for a synthetic track at the Indira Gandhi Sports Complex here at an estimated cost of Rs 7 crore. Besides, inaugurating a blood center at Jipmar at an estimated cost of Rs 28 crore. Inaugurate 100-bedded Sports Authority of India Girls Hostel at Laspet with an estimated cost of 11.85 crore rupees and the reconstructed Heritage Mary Building with an expenditure of 14.83 crore rupees. All these projects are in line with the vision of the Prime Minister for a New India and Atmanirbhar Bharat. Chandramohan, AIR News, Puducherry.
The government will start administering COVID-19 vaccine to the people above 60 years of age from the 1st of next month. Those above 45 years of age with comorbidities will also be vaccinated in this phase. Briefing reporters in New Delhi after Union Cabinet meeting. Information and Broadcasting Minister Prakash Javadekar said the vaccine will be administered free of cost at 10,000 government hospitals to these groups, while the cost of the vaccine at 20,000 private vaccination centers will be borne by them.
सरकार ने तय किया है कि 1 मार्च से यानी अगले सप्ताह से सोमवार से 60 से ज्यादा उम्र जिनकी है और ऐसी संख्या 10 करोड़ से भी ज्यादा है, ऐसे सभी लोगों को और 45 से ज्यादा उम्र जिनकी है लेकिन जिनको कोमॉर्बिडिटी है, कोई न कोई दूसरी बीमारी है, ऐसे 45 से ज्यादा उम्र वाले लोगों को भी 1 मार्च से टीकाकरण किया जाएगा। 10,000 सरकारी केंद्रों पर, सरकारी हॉस्पिटल में मुफ्त लगेगा सरकारी केंद्रों पर, और प्राइवेट में जो लेंगे उनको का शुल्क देना पड़ेगा। और वो शुल्क कितना होगा, कितनी फीस होगी, तो स्वास्थ्य विभाग 2-3 दिन में उसके बारे में घोषणा करेगा।
The Union Cabinet also approved production-linked incentive scheme for IT hardware. The scheme proposes incentives to boost domestic manufacturing and attract large investments in the value chain of IT hardware. The target segments of the scheme include laptops, tablets, all-in-one PCs and servers. Communication and IT Minister Ravi Shankar Prasad said the total cost of the proposed scheme is around 7,350 crore rupees over 4 years. Mr. Prasad added that the scheme has direct and indirect employment generation potential of over 1,80,000.
IT हार्डवेयर का देश में जो वैल्यू एडिशन है वो 5 to 10% है। ये आने वाले 5 वर्षों में बढ़कर 20 से 25% हो जाएगा और इसमें बड़ी संख्या में लोगों को नौकरी भी मिलेगी। लगभग 1,80,000 यानी 2 लाख लोगों को नौकरी मिलेगी और ये हार्डवेयर का प्रोडक्शन 1 ट्रिलियन डिजिटल इकोनॉमी में भी अच्छा कंट्रीब्यूट करेगा।
The minister also said it will provide impetus to domestic value addition for IT hardware, which is expected to rise 20% to 25% by 2025.
Union Agriculture Ministry has said that the country's food grain production is projected at a record 303.34 million tons. Releasing the second advance estimates of production of principal crops for the year 2020-2021, the ministry said it is higher by 5.84 million tons than the production of food grain of 297.5 million tons achieved during 2019-20. Talking to AIR News, Minister of State for Agriculture Kailash Chaudhary said the tireless hard work of farmers, research by the agricultural scientists and farmer-friendly policies of the central government have enabled to achieve such targets.
पिछले साल जो उत्पादन था इस बार 6% इसमें वृद्धि हुई है और इसमें किसानों ने जो वास्तव में कोरोना के समय में भी काम किया और सरकार ने भी सही समय पर सही एडवाइजरी जारी की और जो नई नई वैरायटियां हैं, नई जो साइंटिस्टों के प्रयास से नई वैरायटियां तैयार की गई है जिससे कि किसानों के उत्पादन में वृद्धि हो रही। तो निश्चित रूप से मैं कह सकता हूं कि आने वाले समय के अंदर जो 5 ट्रिलियन इकोनॉमिक का हमारे प्रधानमंत्री जी का लक्ष्य है, उस लक्ष्य के अंदर सबसे बड़ा योगदान अगर किसी का होगा तो वो एग्रीकल्चर का होगा और आज चाहे 10,000 FPO बनाए जा रहे हैं, उससे किसान को भी लाभ होगा, किसान की इनकम भी बढ़ेगी।
As per second advance estimates, total production of rice during 2020-21 is estimated at a record 120.32 million tons, which is higher by 7.88 million tons than the last 5 years' average production of 112.44 million tons, while wheat production during 2020-21 is estimated at a record 109.24 million tons, which is higher by 8.81 million tons than the average wheat production of 100.42 million tons. The ministry said total pulses production during 2020-21 is estimated at 24.42 million tons. The centre has lifted embargo on private sector banks for conduct of government-related transactions. They include taxes on and other revenue payment facilities, pension payment and small saving schemes. Earlier, only a few private banks were permitted for such transactions. The move is expected to further enhance customers' convenience, spur competition and higher efficiency in the standards of customer services. With the lifting of the embargo, there is now no bar on Reserve Bank of India for authorization of private sector banks for government business.
Railways has clarified that slightly higher fares for passenger and other short-distance trains were introduced to discourage people from avoidable travels and those which are not most necessary. These fares are fixed at unreserved price of mail and express trains for the same distance. Citing the sudden spike in number of COVID-19 cases in some states, the Railways said a slightly higher price is to be seen as a proactive measure to prevent crowding in trains and stop COVID from spreading. Indian Railways had stopped the running of regular trains due to COVID-related nationwide lockdown in March last year, and now is constantly increasing the number of passenger-carrying trains in a graded manner. Full restoration of regular services of passenger trains to pre-COVID times is to be considered, keeping in view a range of factors and operational circumstances. The Centre has deputed high-level multidisciplinary teams to 10 states for supporting them in public health measures for targeted COVID response and management. The 3-member multidisciplinary teams are headed by Joint Secretary-level officers in the Health Ministry. The states include Maharashtra, Kerala, Chhattisgarh, Madhya Pradesh, Gujarat, Punjab and Karnataka. The teams will work closely with the local administration to ascertain reasons for recent surge in the cases. The state administrations have also been asked to focus on undertaking aggressive measures to break the chain of transmission and to ensure amplification of RT-PCR tests.
The Health Ministry has said that the cumulative number of COVID-19 vaccine doses administered to healthcare and frontline workers has crossed 1.23 crores in the country. So far, over 1 crore 23,66,000 vaccine have been given to the beneficiaries. These include 65,24,726 healthcare workers who have taken the first dose and 14,81,754 healthcare workers who have taken the second dose. A total of 43,60,153 frontline workers have received the first dose. The ministry also informed that a total 2,01,035 vaccine doses were given till 6 p.m. yesterday on the 40th day of the nationwide COVID-19 vaccination drive, out of which 1,17,681 beneficiaries were vaccinated for the first dose and 83,354 healthcare workers received the second dose. The COVID-19 recovery rate in the country has reached 97.25%. The Health Ministry today said 14,037 people were discharged after recovery in the last 24 hours. Till now, 1,726,702 people have recovered from the COVID-19 infection. In the same period, 13,742 new cases were reported. With this, total number of cases have reached 1,10,30,176. The ministry said 104 deaths were reported in the last 24 hours. So far, 1,21,65,598 beneficiaries have been vaccinated.
In Delhi, a total of 200 new confirmed cases of coronavirus infection were reported during the last 24 hours, taking the total number to more than 6,38,000. The Delhi government today informed that 6,26,331 people affected with COVID-19 have been cured so far. At present, there are 1,137 active cases in the national capital. The Delhi government has decided not to hold offline exams for students till Class 8. Delhi Directorate of Education has issued guidelines for assessment of students of classes 3 to 8. There is no directive for Class 9 and 11. As per the guidelines, there will be no offline examination for students of classes 3 to 8. The assessment will be done on the basis of worksheets and assignments. The guidelines also shared assessment criteria for students of classes nursery to 2. For students of classes nursery to 2, grades and marks will be awarded on the basis of the winter break assignments and responses of the students for the online and offline worksheets shared during the pandemic with the guardians via digital mode. All students of classes nursery to standard 2 will be promoted to the next class for the academic session 2021-22.
In Madhya Pradesh, Chief Minister Shivraj Singh Chauhan reviewed the COVID situation yesterday. Chief Minister has said that cases of corona have been rising in the state for the past few days. He said all precautions should be taken as even slight negligence may prove disastrous. More from our Bhopal correspondent.
Chief Minister Shivraj Singh Chauhan in the review meeting made it clear that lockdown will not be imposed so that economic activities are not affected in the state. Chief Minister said that laborers of border areas should not seek work in other states. They will be provided employment in their villages under Manrega. Shivratri fairs in Pachmadi, Batul, Chhindwara, Badwani and districts adjoining Maharashtra have been postponed. Chief Minister Mr. Chauhan directed that screening of people coming from Maharashtra should be conducted at the border of the state. Only COVID-negative persons will be given admission in the state. Pooja P. Vardhan, AIR News, Bhopal.
You are listening to the morning news on All India Radio. A reminder of the headlines before we move on. Prime Minister Narendra Modi to launch several development projects in Tamil Nadu and Puducherry today. People above 60 years to get COVID-19 vaccine from the 1st of March. Food grain production in the country to touch all-time high of over 303 million tons during current fiscal. Centre lifts embargo on private banks to undertake government-related banking transactions. Prime Minister Narendra Modi reviews Pradhan Mantri Gram Sadak Yojana, asks officials to focus on quality of roads. India kicks off BRICS chairship with inaugural 3-day-long Sherpas meeting. Terror financing watchdog FATF to decide today on Pakistan's grey list status. Delhi government decides not to hold offline exams up to class 8 students. Srinagar Leh National Highway to be reopened for civilian traffic from Sunday. And in cricket, India to resume their innings at overnight score of 99 for 3 against England at Ahmedabad Test today. For quick news updates round the clock, follow us on Twitter at AIR News Alerts.
Prime Minister Narendra Modi has asked officials to pay special attention to the quality of roads being constructed under the Pradhan Mantri Gram Sadak Yojana. Mr. Modi chaired the 36th meeting of Pragati, the ICT-based multimodal platform for proactive governance and timely implementation, yesterday. The Prime Minister reviewed the program for elimination of single-use plastic as well as grievances related to Pradhan Mantri Gram Sadak Yojana. Mr. Modi impressed upon the need to involve people, especially youth, through a proper awareness campaign. In the meeting, 10 agenda items were taken up for review, including 8 projects, grievance relating to one scheme and one program. During the meeting, the Prime Minister expressed his concerns in delays being observed in execution of some of the projects and directed the officials concerned that all pending issues should be resolved in a time-bound manner and, wherever possible, in mission mode. In the previous 35 Pragati interactions, 290 projects having a total cost of about 13.6 lakh crore rupees, along with 51 programs and grievances pertaining to 17 different sectors, have been reviewed. Prime Minister Narendra Modi has asserted that the government has no business to be in business and it is committed to privatize all public sector undertakings, PSUs, except those in 4 strategic sectors with bare minimum requirement. The Prime Minister was addressing a webinar on various reforms undertaken in this year's Union Budget. Defending government's move of disinvestment in PSUs, the Prime Minister said it is government's duty to support enterprises and businesses, but it is not essential that it should own and run enterprises.
पब्लिक सेक्टर एंटरप्राइज शुरू किए गए थे तो समय अलग था और देश की जरूरतें भी अलग थी। जो नीति 50-60 साल पहले के लिए सही थी उसमें सुधार की गुंजाइश हमेशा रहती। आज जब हम ये रिफॉर्म्स कर रहे हैं तो हमारा सबसे बड़ा लक्ष्य यही है कि पब्लिक मनी का सही उपयोग हो। कई ऐसे पब्लिक सेक्टर एंटरप्राइज हैं जो लॉस मेकिंग है। इनमें से कई को टैक्स पेयर्स के मनी द्वारा सपोर्ट करना पड़ता है। एक प्रकार से जो गरीब के हक का है, एस्पिरेशन से भरे युवाओं के हक का है, उन पैसों को इन एंटरप्राइज के कामों में लगाना पड़ता है और इस कारण अर्थव्यवस्था पर भी बहुत प्रकार का बोझ पड़ता है। पब्लिक सेक्टर एंटरप्राइज को सिर्फ इसलिए ही नहीं चलाते रहना चाहिए क्योंकि वो इतने वर्षों से चल रहे हैं, किसी के पेट प्रोजेक्ट रहे हैं।
The Prime Minister said the government is bringing reforms in PSUs and the aim is to optimally utilize public money for the welfare of the people. He said the amount collected from monetization and divestment will be used for funding development projects.
Home Minister Amit Shah will take part in various programs in Nagaon and Karbi Anglong districts of Assam today. Mr. Shah will attend the inauguration event of Mahamrityunjaya Temple at Barhampur at Nagaon district. He will also inaugurate development schemes and address a public rally at Batradrav Than. Later in the day, the Home Minister will attend surrender ceremony of militant groups and also address a public rally at Difu, Karbi Anglong district. Chief Minister Sarbananda Sonowal, Finance Minister Himanta Biswa Sarma, among others, will accompany him. BJP National President JP Nadda will participate in a series of programs in Kolkata and North 24 Parganas in West Bengal today. Mr. Nadda will launch Lokho Shonar Bangla Manifesto crowdsourcing campaign in Kolkata in the morning before visiting Rishi Bankam Chandra Chattopadhyay's residence and museum in Nauhati. The BJP president will have lunch at a jute mill workers' household in Gauripur and visit Anandpuri Kalibadi Temple, Bharakpur. He will visit Mangal Pandey Memorial before addressing Poribortan Yatra, Nabodvip Zone Culmination Rally in Anandapuri Khelar Math. India Toy Fair 2021 will be held from February 7 to March 2nd on a virtual platform. Many toy makers from Meerut in Uttar Pradesh are ready to showcase their beautiful and smart toys, which are also safe for children. A report from our Lucknow correspondent.
Meerut city, which is otherwise famous for its sports equipments worldwide, is also gearing up to participate in the virtual toy fair. Local industries here make beautiful wooden and electronic toys which are quite popular. Rajesh Gujral, owner of a toy maker company here in Meerut, believes that events like toy fair will help the workers of the industry also.
प्रधानमंत्री योजना ने अभी जो वोकल फॉर में किया उसमें काफी अच्छा हमें लगा हमें कि देश की जो टॉय इंडस्ट्रीज है वो आगे बढ़े। हम काफी आइटमें बना रहे हैं इसके स्पोर्ट्स की टॉयज के लिए, हम जो बच्चों को एजुकेशन लर्निंग भी देती है, इससे किसी को नुकसान नहीं मिलता इसको ये, और जो इसमें केमिकल्स हैं सब हैजर्ड फ्री हैं और जो क्वालिटी हमारी वर्ल्ड क्लास नंबर 1 है। और जो टॉय फेयर लगने जा रहा है उसमें हम पार्टिसिपेट कर रहे हैं जिससे लगे कि इंडिया के अंदर भी इतनी आइटम बन सकती हैं, हमें बाहर से इम्पोर्ट करने की जरूरत ना पड़े हमें। इससे हमारे लोगों को में रोजगार मिलेगा, उनको और लेबर को काम मिलेगा। कितनी लेबर पैसे अच्छे मिलेंगे तो उनका भी लिविंग स्टैंडर्ड अच्छा होगा पहले से और हमारे देश का नाम भी इससे रोशन होगा।
Talking to AIR News, Manas Rastogi from Meerut said that this fair is an important step towards vocal for local theme and Atmanirbhar Bharat.
जो ये नया वर्चुअल फेयर कर रहे हैं माननीय प्रधानमंत्री जी के द्वारा जिन्होंने इनिशिएटिव लिया है, बहुत ही अच्छा है, बहुत सपोर्ट मिल रही है हम लोगों को। जिस तरीके से वो लोग ऑर्गेनाइज कर रहे हैं, जिस तरीके से उन्होंने टीम्स बना रखी हैं जिससे कि हम लोगों के प्रोडक्ट्स प्रमोट हों, जैसे कि वो कहते हैं गो फॉर लोकल एंड वोकल फॉर लोकल, तो उस नारे को उन्होंने एक्चुअली में इम्प्लीमेंट करवाया है इस इवेंट के द्वारा। एक फर्क भी पड़ा है।
People from toy industry in Meerut are quite hopeful that this virtual toy fair will help the local toy industry in real sense. With Sangeeta Srivastava from Meerut, this is Sushil Chandra Tiwari, AIR News, Lucknow.
India has kicked off its BRICS chairship with the inaugural 3-day-long Sherpas meeting. Ministry of External Affairs MEA spokesperson Anurag Srivastava said Secretaries CPV and OIA chaired the meeting and introduced our themes, priorities and calendar for BRICS 2021. He said India looks forward to continuing productive discussions with our BRICS partners over the next 2 days. On February the 19th, External Affairs Minister S. Jaishankar launched India's BRICS 2021 website at the BRICS Secretariat at Sushma Swaraj Bhavan. The Financial Action Task Force FATF is set to decide today whether or not Pakistan has made considerable effort to counter terror financing and take a call on whether the country will continue to remain in the grey list. It is highly unlikely that Islamabad will get a breather from the sword hanging on its head, as European nations believe the country has not fully implemented the points in the plan of action laid down by the watchdog. According to media reports, certain European nations, including FATF host France, have recommended that Pakistan be continued to be kept in the grey list. Reports also suggested that the US could lobby for the continuation of Islamabad on the grey list at least until June this year.
The Srinagar-Leh National Highway will be reopened for civilian traffic from Sunday. Despite heavy snowfall this year, on the Zojila Pass, the highway will be thrown open for traffic in a record time of 2 months only. The highway was closed for traffic on December 31st last year. The announcement about reopening the highway was made by Divisional Commissioner Kashmir during a meeting held in Srinagar to review status of Srinagar-Sonmarg-Gumri SSG Road. For the time being, only one-way traffic will be allowed to ply on the highway. One of the famous tourist destinations of the country, Leh, is all set for a near 100 crore rupee holistic development. A team of consultants from Tourism Ministry has visited Leh for spot inspection yesterday. Here's a report from our Leh correspondent.
In Ladakh, Leh town is shortlisted under the National Mission on Pilgrimage, Rejuvenation and Spirituality Augmentation Drive Prasad scheme. Prasad aims at integrated development in planned, prioritized and sustainable manner to provide a complete religious tourism experience. With the Rejuvenation scheme, it is also expected to help economic development, employment generation, world-class tourist infrastructure and promotion of local art, culture and handicrafts. UT Tourism Secretary Commissioner Rijin Sampel said under the Prasad scheme, about 35 crore will be spent on Chokanga Vihara, the iconic Buddhism landmark in Main Bazaar.
करीब 35 करोड़ के अमाउंट है वो चोखंग विहार के लिए है, एक टेंटेड फिगर है ये, और साथ ही साथ लगभग 60 करोड़ पूरे लेह सिटी डेवलपमेंट के लिए आया है। जो कंसल्टेंट्स आए हैं मिनिस्ट्री ऑफ टूरिज्म की तरफ से, वो एक प्रिलिमिनरी रिपोर्ट जो है वो स्टेट को सबमिट करेंगे, उसकी बेसिस पे हम लोग अपना डीपीआर मिनिस्ट्री को सबमिट करेंगे।
Ladakh Autonomous Hill Development Council Leh CEC Tashik Gyaltsen said that long pending demands for Leh development to meet tourism requirements are now materializing.
इन दोनों प्रोजेक्ट्स के लिए हमें अप्रोक्सीमेटली तकरीबन 100 करोड़ के आसपास हमें अप्रूव हुआ है, जिसमें तकरीबन 35 to 38 करोड़ जो है चोखंग विहार के ब्यूटिफिकेशन बोलो या रेनोवेशन के लिए है, बाकी लेह टाउन की हेरिटेज सिटी बनाने के लिए खर्चा किया जाएगा।
Shortly, the UT administration, in consultation with the Leh Hill Council, submit the detailed project report for Prasad scheme implementation for better facilities and experience to the tourists. Ramesh Chandra, All India Radio News, Leh.
In cricket, India will resume their innings at the overnight score of 99 for 3 against England in the third test at Narendra Modi Stadium in Ahmedabad today. Rohit and Ajinkya Shahane were at the crease when sums were drawn yesterday. India are trailing by 13 runs. And now an overview of today's newspapers. Carrying almost identical headlines, most dailies report that in Phase 2, free vaccine jabs for COVID-19 will be given to people 60 plus and 45 plus with comorbidities. The Pioneer states that free shots will be given in 10,000 government hospitals and at a fee in private ones. Delhi reports 200 new infections of COVID-19, the highest single-day increase in 26 days, writes Hindustan Times. The Hindu quotes Army Chief General Naravane as saying that disengagement is a win-win situation, but it was still a long way to go for LAC de-escalation. We have strategies for dispatching. Trust deficit exists, says Naravane, is the headline in the Indian Express. And finally, Tiger Woods seriously hurt in LA crash, stable after surgery, headlines the Asian Age. Hindustan Times reveals that he may not play again.
And now, before we end the bulletin, the headlines once again. Prime Minister Narendra Modi to launch several development projects in Tamil Nadu and Puducherry today. People above 60 years to get COVID-19 vaccine from 1st of March. Food grain production in the country to touch all-time high of over 303 million tons during current fiscal. Santa lifts embargo on private banks to undertake government-related banking transactions. Prime Minister Narendra Modi reviews Pradhan Mantri Gram Sadak Yojana, asks officials to focus on quality of roads. India kicks off BRICS chairship with inaugural 3-day-long Sherpas meeting. Terror financing watchdog FATF to decide today on Pakistan's grey list status. Delhi government decides not to hold offline exams up to class 8 students. Srinagar-Leh National Highway to be reopened for civilian traffic from Sunday, and in cricket, India to resume their innings at overnight score of 99 for 3 against England at Ahmedabad Test today. And with that, we end the morning news. Have a nice day.